Well, hello, ladies. How are you once again? Welcome to Embrace Seasons. Listen, I am excited about this episode today. Y'all, I have to be real as I always strive to be. And this episode is how a mom deals with conflict. How a mom deals with conflict. Almost takes me back to my middle school years. And I don't know how, but some way, I guess God seen something in me that I didn't see in myself. I was allowed to be a mediator in middle school. Very, very weird opportunity for me because I felt like I would have skills to help somebody else calm down, somebody else to be able to search to see why, or, what happened, or what caused the fight. Somebody will come in from an argument, from a fist fight, heated, and I will be the person to bring resolution to the problem. I'm not sure how long that lasted. It was in middle school, but it was so weird for me. Now I think about it, I'm so weirded out about it because I didn't see those skills that were on the inside of me. That God just really gave me a peace to be able to bring calmness and awareness to somebody else. Now, granted, I'm still in my process of growing. I'm a middle schooler. I don't know what it means for me to have peace. Like, I'm a teenager. I was my mother's daughter. And though I consider myself an easy child, and I was a very obeyable, I don't even know if that's a word, but I obeyed my mommy a lot. And for those of you that are wondering, I'm in the car pickup line again, praise God. But I really had this overwhelming sense to really want to help people, not to fight. I didn't want to see anybody fight. So from that point to now, in my adulthood, married, thriving in my womanhood, a parent, a mommy to 4 little ones, those things that I remember that I operated in middle school, helping somebody else and being a mediator. First of all, let me just go back there for a second. I don't even remember who gave me the opportunity to do that. I'm trying to sit up here and remember, like, who gave me the opportunity to be a mediator? I think that's really funny, y'all. I'm sorry. But little did I know that God was doing something else in my life that I would need, those skills that I would need for my life, especially in this season. So as a mom, just fast forward until now, I have learned to embrace a lot. I've learned to embrace my womanhood even the more. I got married out of my mommy's house. Even for those of you that have subscribed and liked this channel, you'll be able to see in some videos how I kind of talk about that, little spits and spats of it. But there was a lot of things that I was just sheltered from. Not saying that my mom didn't nurture me effectively, but it's certain things that my mom parented in her style of parenting was to basically, hey, I ain't gonna lie, my mom was the Pinterest mom. And it's funny because that is not my maternal identity. Well, it is when it comes to dressing my children and making sure they look the part. But above everything else, I'd be like, okay, let me see if I can get a recipe from somebody. Let me see if I can look up something that's going to help me to organize things a little bit better. But yeah, anyway, so as a mom, I have a 7-year-old, well, a new 7-year-old, a new 3-year-old, and I have a set of twins, my husband and I, of almost 10 years. In February, we have a set of twin girls, and they are going on their 6-month journey next month. And wow, so I'm gonna strive to give you tips of my parenting style, and it's gonna be mixed with my maternal identity as well, if you can say. And then it's going to also be mixed with Not just the reason why, but it's going to be mixed to help you to resolve your own conflict in your heart. When I was, we were transitioning. We're in a ministry now, members at a ministry now, very, very well, and prominent ministry in our community, and in our city rather. But before we were at that ministry, we were at another ministry. Honestly, that particular church was my everything. The people there, I just adored them just wholeheartedly. And I felt like if I could, I would do anything for them. Granted, there was a lot of things that was missing in me, maybe emotionally, spiritually, financially. But skipping a little bit, I had to go through a season when our eldest son, that's 7, at that time, he was, I believe, 3 or 4. And I had to go through transitioning from a church that I was at from almost a little over 12 years, losing, well, no. Yes, I had to transition from a ministry that I was at almost 12 years with my husband. I met my husband there, and to basically a new church. It sounds like not that big of a deal, but the depth of it literally almost killed me. And I say that with a humble heart because of all the things that transpired and happened in our last ministry. The people there just was there in season, out of season, and they did the best they could to steward us, to steward our gifts, to make sure that we were on the right path. And just really spent a lot of their time and their energy investing their wisdom that maybe took them a couple of years or maybe decades to grasp the concept of just really stewarding us as their flock. And so I considered these people not just people I went to church with, and though we didn't do life a lot together, like outside of the church, I considered them to be like my own family. Well, in that particular season, the transition for my whole family was so horrific. I can't get into detail, not because I don't want to, but because it will take too long, because I'll keep jumping from one thing to the next to talk about. Do I love them? Do I care? Yes. Do I still pray for them? Yes. Do I need healing? Even from that particular season, after it's been almost 5 years? Yes. My identity as a woman before my husband and I had our eldest son, my identity got wrapped up in the church. It wasn't anybody's fault in the church. It was actually my fault. It was my husband's fault. Our identity was wrapped up in the church. It wasn't wrapped up in God. Now, I believe that it ignorantly did not start that way, but I believe, and I'm talking about the same subject, how I deal with conflict resolution. I believe what happened was I started to make the people that were set in place to be leaders, and there was a lot of things I was ignorant in, even as far as ministry and church is concerned, for those of you that are not church individuals. I was very ignorant of not to put leadership on a pedestal, and if that opportunity was presented for me to do so, I didn't know what a healthy to communicate healthy and effectively, what that meant for me to communicate to them, like, okay, well, I feel uncomfortable about this, or this is going on, can we talk about this? I feel that there was there was a little effort to communicate certain feelings, certain emotions, and be okay with that. So anyway, to transition in all of that, there's a lot of things that is involved in that particular story, and it'll take me, honestly, it may take me all my life to talk about that season, because honestly, that is a season that really God really entrusted to us, and he entrusted to us for a reason. And it's not to bash anybody, it's not to tear anybody down, any ministry down, but it's to honestly say that, Shan, we all human. And I think that's the point I'm getting ready to get at. When I was going through that season of my family and I had to transition from my last church, it broke me to my core, because I felt that that was the place that God predestined us to be until he sent us out to do whatever into the world. I did not even foresee me using certain giftings I had outside of the walls of the church, because I was like, you know what? I felt more comfortable just doing it in the church versus outside of the church. Oh, there go our little man. Give me your stuff. Give me your stuff. Give me your backpack. Hey, how you doing? Good. Thank you so much. Come on, baby. Her. You too. How are you, Zay? We miss you so much.
I gotta use the bathroom.
Oh, God, you do?
Yeah.
Okay, here. Okay. Well, what happened?
No, we were playing the quiet game. We were playing the quiet game, the quiet leader game, the quiet game.
Okay, I need you to put your seatbelt on. I'm gonna take a go use the bathroom right now.
Okay. We were playing the quiet game, and then I felt like that I had to use the bathroom. I didn't, but then I had to.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you get that from me. Yeah, I got your food. Let me just...
Well, what did you put in there?
A hot dog and some waffle fries.
Ooh, yummy.
All right, ladies. So we left off on basically some church hurt, some trauma that my husband and I experienced, and just how we have grown since then and how we have developed. And in all actuality, the conflict resolution skills that I've gained from that time that I had to transition from now as a parent, it actually helped me to deal more effectively as a parent, as a wife, as a minister of the gospel, to be able to not be unconfrontational, but to be confrontational. That it's okay that Jesus was savage. He confronted issues and he dealt with areas, but he did it with a grace. And I believe us as moms, we have a grace to be able to pick up a lot of life skills that we've learned over the years, and to be able to hold your plate, and to be able to pass them out amongst our home, amongst our family, those that are within the four walls of our home, and say, I still love you, but we're going to deal with this. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see how this can come to a head. And so I'll give you a couple of tips from me. So the first thing my husband and I, we have learned is, especially as a mom, and this plays a part not only in my marriage, but this plays a big role in my motherhood, is I've got to be honest with how I feel, okay? Not to involve my children in literally every area of my life, because I don't believe that is a healthy cycle for my family. But involving my children to the extent of them acknowledging the responsibility that they have in the matter of resolving conflict, and also resolving the issue that I have, but making sure that it's understandable. And I'm not speaking over my children's head. And honestly, that has taken a lot of time, energy, books, community of different moms that I maybe have not met personally, but online, to try to gather wisdom, insight, understanding, wisdom from my mother-in-law, from my mommy, just from my tribe around me of moms, personally in my life, that I feel that is just so needful for me to continue to grow and evolve as a mother. So after I do that, the second thing is that, and I know many of us probably don't do this, and I'm not saying that I do this all the time, but this is my goal. I strive to, after we have serious talks with my children, and very, very important talks, because my 3-year-old, he's still at the stage of this toddler behavior, saying no. I try to help him to understand feelings, but he doesn't understand how to respect other people's feelings. But one thing that I know that has been effective for us is we strive to pray. After we talk about things, even in our motherhood, I strive to pray with my kiddos. Realistically, I do not always pray, but that is a goal, to pray. And I ask, the third tip is to ask my child questions about resolving the conflict. Now, this is a very big step of faith for me, because I come from a very authoritative background when it comes to a parenting style. My mom was a very authoritative parent, and she did what worked for her and what was best for her. And for my children and I, something that I'm striving to do is I'm striving to change the narrative, because honestly, my maternal identity is to be an aggressive, authoritative parent. For me, because I'm a lot traditional in my approach to parenting, so I want to be the parent that says, okay, no, my way, or the highway, or no, be quiet, or it's a part of my identity, not for my child to have their own voice. But something I'm striving to do in my family is I'm trying to change the narrative. That has been very challenging over the years, especially the stage of development that our eldest son is at, because he is at the stage of development that he's not only asking questions, but he is able to combat a lie. He's able to come against things that that honestly you wouldn't think he'll be coming against at his age. And I know it's just because of his gift and ability spiritually. But so praying about things, knowing that there is a problem, and resolving things, and asking my child how do they feel about this particular situation that happened, even if that be but solving conflict on the inside of them. And so we'll move from that, or we'll look up scripture and look up a Bible verse, or I try to find a cartoon Bible series that is talking about the area that we need as a family, or that we need help in growing in. So that may be love, that may be patience, that may be behavior, just anything. And the last thing, dealing with conflict resolution in me. Now, like I was talking about a little bit earlier, when my family and I had to transition from the ministry, that was one of the most difficult moments of my life personally. And it's just because of my identity. I allowed my identity to be wrapped up in our church, in the environment of the church. So when we left, I feel like a part of me was dying. And so from that time, my eldest son, we weren't pregnant with our middle child as of yet. But our eldest son, we actually, we hadn't had our middle child yet. And then we hadn't had the girls. So my eldest son watched me grieve as if somebody died. And on top of that, in the midst of the transition, somebody actually did pass. It was our late apostle, and and this still is just like, it's still kind of a shocker to me, but it was our late apostle. He ended up passing and going home to be with the Lord during the time of the transition. And I just thought, and he was like a father to me. In my whole life as a whole, I only knew two men that was the most consistent in my life, and that's my husband, and that was Apostle Washington. Like a father to me. He just really was. He actually prayed and laid hands on my mother for my mother to be able to conceive me, because there was a wide gap between my sister and I, and my mother could not conceive. And by faith, God did a creative miracle in my mom, and my mom conceived, and here I am because of his obedience and his prayer for my mom. I just think that's so powerful. But with all that being said, how I dealt with conflict in myself during that time, it was not healthy. I screamed, I cried. There'll be some times where the church was closed and nobody was there. I'll ride back up to the church and I'll cry, I'll pray, and I'll ask God, Lord, why is this happening? Little did I know that God was doing something great in my family, and he was taking me out of my comfort zone. Because y'all, even though I felt in that season there were a lot of uncomfortable things happening that could be dealt with, there was so much comfortability when it came to me resting, being a praise and worship leader, me resting, and the fact that, I felt that this is a place where I met my husband. This is a place where we had our first child. Just a lot. And, with all that being said, the tips I'm giving you now is things that I wish I had to learn. I cut my hair off during that time. I actually went bald. I was going crazy. I was going crazy. And just because I did not see myself outside of the four walls of that ministry, I just did not. And for many reasons. But okay, yes. So dealing with the conflict in me was a lot deeper, and there are a lot of issues that I'm still having to work out. And I've learned that I have to be honest with how I feel. I can't fake the funk and pretend that there's nothing wrong internally, because what ends up happening is I don't have a capacity to be stretched, especially in the season that I'm in. I have to get my feelings out. I have to know that I have a safe environment and community around me to be able to give my cup of tea in this season. And I should know the people that are safe to do that with, that I feel safe. If I don't feel safe, and I want to encourage you, if you don't feel safe, not just physically, even though that is top priority, because if you are not safe, then leave. But if you don't feel safe emotionally, it does a lot to your mental capacity, because of the fact that you are limited to be yourself. And if you don't feel emotionally safe around certain people, you should pray and rethink that relationship, or see, God, what really is this relationship for? Because maybe I am allowing somebody in a space to where they were not ordained to be, or they don't have the grace to be able to handle the weight of my life in that area. So let me see where they belong in my life. And it's okay to do that. You don't have to feel like, oh Lord, if I feel like I don't, like, oh man, like I'm missing the mark, or I feel like I'm putting somebody beneath you. It's not about that. It's about you knowing that you have a community around you that supports the real you behind closed doors. So I would tell you now, the way I handled the conflict in me was not healthy for my child. He seen me scream a lot. He seen me yell a lot. He seen me, cut my hair off, and Lord, what happened to mama hair? And, he seen me be frustrated, be angry. I didn't even know how to deal during that season. I didn't have any clue what conflict resolution skills were in that season. And then go back all the way to the beginning of this video when I was talking about being a mediator. It's like all that went out the window because of my emotional state. And even though there's a lot of pieces to that puzzle. So yes, I pray and I hope that you have gathered wisdom, understanding, insight from my season of life. I pray that something I said really transform you and really bless you to be able to see that you're valuable, you're important, that you're more, mom. And these are my conflict resolution skills. Thank you so much for watching another season. Thank you so much for watching Embrace Seasons.